If you've got a website that looks fine, but your inbox is quieter than you'd like, this video is for you. Because the truth is, many nice looking websites do not have a design problem. They have a buyer decision problem. The pages look polished, but they fail 3 tests that every serious buyer is running through their head. And that's why they leave without filling out a form, booking a meeting with you, or calling you. Coming up in this video, I'll show you how to spot which of the 3 buyer tests your site's failing, the order in which to fix them so you're not guessing, and why pouring money into redesign, SEO, or ads before you do this will not fix your website lead problem. Let me give you a quick example of how this plays out in real life. There's a B2B company with a net worth of around 60 million. They had what most people would call a perfectly good website. They had modern design, clear navigation, on-brand visuals that made the whole thing look really professional. But the problem was that leads were not where they wanted them to be. So instead of jumping into another redesign or more SEO or ad spend, they ran tests on their site to figure out exactly what was happening. Then they sharpened the messages so that buyers could get it. And in seconds, they added real proof and they made the next step to talk to sales really obvious. As a result, leads doubled and the quality of those leads went up. The site didn't become prettier and it didn't have more traffic. It just stopped failing the buyer's decision test. And that's the shift we're talking about today. So there's a quick qualifier for you. I want to be clear that this video isn't a DIY copywriting tutorial. It's for established service businesses who already have some reputation, word of mouth, and traffic, but your site just isn't pulling its weight in terms of qualified inquiries. What we're doing here is diagnosing why a looks fine website is underperforming so that when you do invest in changes, they actually can make a difference. From here, we're going to zoom out and look at those 3 buyer tests your site has to pass: credibility, clarity, and path. I'll show you the order to tackle them so you're not guessing or throwing money at the wrong problem. Many owners do one of 2 things when a site isn't performing. They either throw money at redesign or rebranding, or they throw money at getting more traffic through SEO or ads. Those can all be smart investments, but if the site itself isn't helping a buyer make a decision, all you've really done is create a nicer looking, more expensive version of the same problem and sent more people to it. Think of your website like a resume. Every visit to your site is like a job interview, only you don't even know that you're being interviewed. It's completely silent and anonymous. So your serious buyer is basically running 3 quick tests in their head when they land on your site. And clarity is the first test. They're asking themselves, do I understand instantly what you do, who it's for, and what's in it for me? The second test is credibility. Do I actually believe you can deliver? Do you look like a safe choice? And the third is path. If I'm interested, is it crystal clear what I should do next? And does that next step feel easy and low risk? If your site fails any one of these 3, you're likely going to lose a lead, and they're not going to let you know why they left. They're just going to close the tab. So I'm going to walk you through each test, the order to do them, and show you the symptoms so you are not guessing. Let's start with the first test your site has to pass, which is clarity. A ready to hire buyer should be able to land on your homepage and within about 5 seconds answer 3 questions. What do you offer? Who is it for? And what's the basic win for me if I keep going? They're not reading every word, and you know this because you skim and they're skimming too. They're skimming your headlines, maybe your subhead and the images, and their brain's making a snap judgment. Either I get it and this is for me, or I do not understand what you're talking about. When a site is failing the clarity test, it usually sounds like this on your side. We get inquiries, but they are the wrong fit. We keep answering the same questions on sales calls over and over, or we're getting traffic, but we're not getting the call volume we expect. Sometimes your analytics will back this up too with low time on site or high bounces. But when you tighten up your message, you're not just wordsmithing, then you are actually changing how people even recognize that you're the right answer for them. StoryBrand, for example, shares a case where a wealth management firm went from getting 0 leads from their website to landing 2 separate $2 million leads in the first month after they clarified their message and rebuilt the entire site around that new message. Another client reports that their revenue quadrupled, and their webinar registration page, rewritten with clear messaging, converted 60% of a cold ad audience, which is amazing. And in all of these examples, the big change was being clear, obviously relevant, and easy to say yes to. So here is a quick check you can do on your own site. Ask someone who doesn't know what you do. So this can't be you, and it can't be someone in your organization because you already know the answer to this. So be sure to ask someone who doesn't know what you do to read that first screen of your homepage, and without scrolling, describe what you do, who it's for, and what's in it for them. And they have to be able to answer this within 5 to 10 seconds. If they struggle to answer any one of these questions, clarity is the first thing you need to fix. At a high level, the fix here is simply making the top of your homepage brutally clear and specific. That usually looks like a simple positioning line they could repeat back to you. For example, we do this service for who, so they can get this result. So if clarity is weak, this is definitely the first place you want to start. If you want help with this, you can request for me to do a website audit, and the link's in the description. But either way, keep watching, because the next part is where most sites lose leads. The second test your site has to pass is credibility, because once a buyer understands what you do, their next question is, how do I know these people can actually deliver and not make me look bad or waste my money? This is where a lot of websites fall down. They say all the right things like high quality, trusted partner, world-class service, and I particularly see these kind of phrases on home service websites. But the problem is they don't back up those statements. Credibility comes from proof. You have to understand that this isn't a nice to have if you want website leads. There is a mountain of conversion research showing that when you upgrade credibility, conversions can jump anywhere from 20 to 50% or even more. One test just moved a testimonial above their call to action button and saw 35% sales lift. Another added a Trustpilot widget and saw sales go up by 58%. That's how much it matters that your site proves it, not just claims it. So here's a simple self-check for credibility. Look at your homepage and your service pages and ask yourself, do we show proof of outcomes and authority that we know what we're doing? That's what you're looking for. Your testimonials are obvious. They talk about outcomes your customers have had, and there's a decent amount of testimonials. If you have ratings, they're at least equal to or higher than the average in your industry. If you have awards or certifications, they're obvious, and there are brief explanations about what they are and how it helps your customers, and they're linked to sources to legitimize the claims. At a high level, the fix here is to bring specific, believable proof into the parts of the site where people are deciding their next move, like your homepage, on your service pages, on your about page, even your contact page. The third test your site has to pass is path. This is the part most people underestimate because it feels basic. But once a buyer understands what you do and they basically trust you enough, to at least make an inquiry, their next question is, I'm interested, what do I do now? If your site doesn't direct them to the next step, they actually might stall out. When the path test is failing, it usually sounds like this on your side. We're getting traffic, people are going to different pages, and they're staying for a decent time, but they're not doing anything. We have a contact form, but no one ever fills it out. Sometimes the only path you're giving people is a tiny contact us link in the header or footer with no context, no expectations, and a form that's either too long or too brief. It's a problem I particularly see on home service websites. So how do you get around this? Multiple case studies show that just changing the button color to something brighter and using a larger font size on those buttons can double leads. When you fix the path, you're not changing who finds you, you're changing how many of the right people actually take action. There are countless tests showing how big this one change can be. In one example, simply cutting a contact form from 11 fields down to 4 increased conversion by 120%. They had the same traffic, the same offer, just less friction on that path. And other experiments have seen conversion lifts of 35% or more just by moving a testimonial above the call to action button, so buyers feel confident before they click. And nearly 60% more sales after adding a clear third-party review widget near that buy button. When you add that up, it's the same pattern. Once someone understands you, trusts you enough, tiny tweaks to that path can mean dramatically more inquiries from the traffic you already have. So here's a quick self-check for path. Look at your entire site and ask, if I were a serious buyer, is the next step obvious? Are there clear, visible buttons that tell me what to do and what happens next? If it's not clear, consider applying some of the things we talked about, like adding buttons on every page of your website and making them obvious. Reduce your form fields. Add testimonials around your buttons that address questions or concerns in the minds of your potential customers. Now that you understand the 3 buyer tests, your next question might be, okay, but how do I tell what's actually wrong on my site? That's exactly what I'm going to walk you through in the next video. It's a quick self-diagnostic, not a big implementation checklist. In about 10 minutes, I'll show you 5 specific red flags to look for on your own site that literally repel ready to hire buyers. This is a must see if you want a shortcut to what's wrong instead of guessing, redesigning, and hoping for the best. I'll meet you over there in a second.